That night, the four of us had no plan except to drive. The air was cool and the roads were almost empty. We had the windows rolled down, music playing loud and laughter filling the car. It felt like the kind of night that would stay in memory forever. None of us knew that it actually would, but for reasons we wished we could forget. We were supposed to take the main highway, but somewhere along the way, one of my friends suggested a shortcut. The GPS showed a thinner road cutting through the woods, a route we had never tried before. It seemed faster, quieter, and a little adventurous. Without thinking twice, we turned onto it. That decision still haunts me. At first, everything felt normal. The headlights lit up the cracked asphalt and the dark trees stood on both sides like silent walls. The deeper we went, the quieter it became. The laughter in the car started to fade. Someone lowered the volume of the music, but the radio did not stay silent for long. It began softly, almost like a mistake. A faint static hiss followed by something that sounded like voices, not songs. Not a station, but actual whispers. They were too low to understand yet, too sharp to ignore. My friend at the wheel tapped the radio thinking it was a glitch, but the whispers only grew stronger. It sounded like several people talking at once, words blending into each other, as if they were right there in the car with us. We turned the radio off completely. The voices did not stop. For a few seconds, they carried on in the same broken, breathy tone before vanishing into silence. We all exchanged looks, no one daring to speak. That road was empty. The sky was moonless, and yet every one of us felt the same thing deep inside. Someone was out there with us. We'd been driving for nearly an hour on that strange highway when the fuel light suddenly came on. The needle dropped lower than we expected and panic crept in. There were no towns, no lights, not even a sign of life on either side of the road, just endless trees and black sky. When the GPS finally showed a gas station ahead, we all felt a small wave of relief. The relief died the moment we saw it. The station stood in complete darkness, its sign broken and hanging at an angle. The pumps were old and covered in rust, their hoses lying on the ground like dead snakes. The windows of the small shop were shattered, glass scattered around the entrance. It looked like nobody had touched the place in decades yet. The air around it felt heavy as if someone was still inside. We pulled in slowly, headlights sweeping across the lot. Dust rose from the ground, catching in the beam like smoke. None of us spoke. We should have turned back, but the fuel light kept blinking, forcing us to at least try. My friend stepped out of the car, and the sound of the door shutting echoed unnaturally loud in the silence. That is when it happened. From the corner of my eye, I saw movement inside the shop, just a shadow at first. Slipping across the broken window, I froze and told the others to look. At first, they saw nothing, then the shadow passed again. It was not a trick of light. Something was moving in there. The worst part was the way it moved. Slow, deliberate, like someone who knew we were watching and wanted us to see them. We could not see a face or any detail, only a dark shape sliding back and forth in the broken glass. The feeling that we were being observed became unbearable. Every instinct in me screamed to leave, to get back in the car and drive, even if the tank ran dry on the road. We left the gas station without saying a word. Nobody wanted to admit how shaken we were. The car rolled back onto the highway and the silence inside felt heavier than before. Even the radio, which we kept off, seemed to hum faintly, as if it wanted to come alive again. The road stretched endlessly ahead. Trees leaned over like black skeletons, their branches crossing each other above us. The headlights cut a narrow tunnel through the darkness, and in that tunnel something appeared. At first it looked like a shadow, a figure blurred against the night. As we got closer, the shape grew clearer until we saw him. A man was standing perfectly still in the middle of the road. His clothes were dark, blending into the night, and his face was hidden in shadow. My friend at the wheel slammed the brakes and the car screeched to a halt, headlights shining directly on him. But he did not move. He did not flinch. He stood there motionless like a statue carved into the asphalt. The light illuminated everything around him, yet his face remained impossible to see, as if something unnatural covered it. We sat frozen, waiting for him to do something. Seconds stretched into forever. Then someone whispered for us to drive around him. My friend pressed the horn once. The The sound echoed through the empty woods, but the man never reacted. Not a twitch, not a step, nothing. And then it happened. One blink. That is all it took. I closed my eyes for less than a second, and when I opened them, the road was empty. He was gone. The headlights showed nothing but wet asphalt ahead. We exhaled in disbelief, our minds trying to explain it away. But before we could calm down, we saw them. Right there on the road, glistening under the beam of our headlights, were muddy footprints. They led forward into the darkness, disappearing into the trees on both sides. The man was gone, but he had been real enough to leave his steps behind. The car moved forward slowly, everyone too shaken to speak. We just wanted to find the main highway again and put that man behind us. The GPS screen glowed in the dark, guiding us with its calm digital voice. But then, without warning, the route changed. The map glitched. The glowing blue line flickered, broke apart, then reappeared, leading us in another direction. None of us touched it. None of us even dared. Yet the device insisted, telling us to turn right onto a road none of us recognized. We argued for a moment, fear mixing with the need to escape, and in the end, we followed it. The new road felt wrong from the very first second. The asphalt was cracked and narrow, almost hidden by the roots of massive trees that pressed in on both sides. Their branches reached overhead and blocked out what little sky there was, creating a tunnel of wood and shadow. The trees were lifeless, their bark dry and gray as if they had been dead for centuries. The silence on that road was unbearable. Even the sound of the engine seemed muffled, swallowed by the forest. No wind, no insects, no night creatures, nothing. It was like the world itself had gone still, holding its breath as we drove deeper inside. And then the sound came. It was faint at first, a dull thumping that we mistook for something on the road. But as the car rolled forward, the noise grew clearer. It was coming from behind us, a hollow, rhythmic knocking sound. It echoed from the trunk. We all turned at once, our eyes fixed on the back of the car. The knocks continued, slow and deliberate, as if someone was trapped inside and was pounding with weak fists to get out. Nobody wanted to say it out loud, but we all thought the same thing. We had never opened the trunk since the night began. None of us had checked it, and whatever was inside was now trying to make itself known. The fog on the road grew heavier, curling around the car like a living thing. At first, the passengers thought their eyes were playing tricks on them, but soon the truth became undeniable. Out of the swirling mist, shapes began to appear, dark, human-like figures running along both sides of the car. Their steps made no sound yet. Their pace matched the vehicle's speed perfectly, as though they were bound to it. Panic set in when the driver pressed harder on the accelerator. But no matter how fast the car went, the figures kept up effortlessly, gliding through the fog like shadows given flesh. The passengers stared in horror, their breaths quickening as the headlights revealed more details. These figures weren't ordinary people. Where faces should have been, there were only empty black voids, hollow gaps that seemed to devour the light itself. No eyes, no features, just blank darkness staring back. The road ahead felt endless, the fog closing in like a trap while these faceless beings ran alongside, relentless and unshaken, every second stretched like eternity. The realization dawning that they were not alone on this road, and whatever was out there did not belong to the world of the living. When they finally pulled into their driveway, their bodies trembled with exhaustion and fear. No one spoke a word. The silence inside the car was heavier than the fog they had left behind. Each of them carried the same unshakable thought. Whatever they had witnessed on that road was not meant to be seen. For days, sleep came only in fragments, haunted by flashes of faceless shadows chasing them through the mist one evening. Silence, heavier fog, unshakable thought, witnessed, not meant to be seen. Sleep, fragments, haunted shadows, mist, unable to bear the weight of curiosity. One of them opened his laptop and began to search. What he found froze his blood cold. The road they had traveled on, the very stretch of asphalt where the figures had appeared, had been closed decades ago. It wasn't just abandoned, it was cursed. The authorities had shut it down after countless fatal accidents, vehicles vanishing without a trace, and bodies never recovered. The truth was horrifying. The shadows they saw were not illusions, but the restless souls of those who had died there forever, trapped in the fog, waiting for the next traveler to join them. Some roads should never be taken. Some truths should never be uncovered. If you ever find yourself driving late at night, remember once you enter the wrong road, you may never return the same.